Hey, welcome. It's Peter Voogd, author of the best-selling book, 6 Months to Six Figures, and welcome to the YEL 2.0 podcast. Whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening while you're driving on audio, I'm excited for this episode. We're actually going to launch something new that I got from an idea from my team, but also from some of you guys. I'm always thinking of ways to add more value based on my experience. And a couple months ago, my team came up with doing something related to 6 Months to Six Figures, my book. And after some thought, I knew it was a great idea, getting some feedback from some of you guys. So I'm going to start a new 6M, 6F series where I walk through my book and break down exactly why I wrote what I wrote and dive even deeper into each chapter. This will be sprinkled in between different content, but there are a few things as tactical, as relevant, as comprehensive, as helpful as this book. And I've been consistently outside myself and consistently humbled and just blown away by the support of 6 Months to Six Figures. And it's self-published, and it's sold so far over 300,000 copies, and it has over 5,400 reviews on Amazon and Audible, which is insane. If you would have told me I was going to do this when I wrote it, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have thought you were crazy. But this is going to be super authentic, no script. I'm just going to go through the chapters and talk about how it's changed my life, how I can relate it to you, what's in it for you, and why I wrote this book, how I wrote it. Now, anyone wanting to write a book, anyone want to learn more about the process, this will be valuable. Anybody wanting to get to their first six figures, this will be valuable. Anybody that's struggling right now that wants to get to a better place in their life, this will be valuable. Anyone at six figures wanting to get to $500,000, or someone maybe already at six figures, high six figures wanting to get seven figures, this will be valuable, because this is not just about six figures in 6 months. It's about having the best 6 months you've ever had. And why I'm doing that, and by the way, there's also going to be case studies from from the last couple of years since the book was released. But why I'm doing this, yes, to bring more awareness to the book, but that's secondary to all the questions I get every day on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, social media, email, even text messages, even people that know me, they call me and ask, are usually answered in this book. So usually the answer is, have you read my book? And a lot of times they say no. So a lot of people's questions are answered in detail in this book. And I don't want to be that person that keeps trying to come up with new content and promotes all these new things and acts like a know-it-all in all these different platforms and all these different industries. I just want to continue to preach mastery versus overload, and I want to stick with the fundamentals. And if the foundation and the fundamentals of success aren't mastered, it's hard to get to that next level. Okay, so this is just going to be an intro to the series and a couple tips when writing a book. I want to go back to 2011, 12, 13, when I started seeing more success. As you know, the book is dead broke to six figures in 6 months. And I'm going to tell the story of how I came up with this book. It's really funny. One of the common things I get is, man, that's kind of a scammy title or sketchy title. But then I read it and I realized it actually is very valuable. So I'm proud of the title. You know, it sounds kind of funny, 6 months. It sounds like it's hookish or clickbaitish, which it wasn't. I just wanted to do something accurate that caught people's attention. And I realized that everyone has books on how to be millionaires. I wanted someone, just an everyday person, to relate and help them get to six figures. And we've had countless case studies. If you look at the reviews, you'll see people have literally made six figures in 6 months because of this. But when I was broke and discouraged, my network wasn't good. I talk about this in the book, but when I finally got to six figures and finally started seeing success and teaching other people on my team how to get to six figures, and I started realizing it was duplicatable, 2012 and 13 came along, and I was getting very frustrated and antsy because I didn't really have any impact. And I knew that what I went through, I knew that the systems I developed, the mindsets I actually acquired, the philosophies I gained, the hundreds of thousands of I don't want to say hundreds of thousands, but the thousands of hours I spent from 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on personal growth and investing in different seminars, books, audios, videos, and putting it towards my actual sales company to where we did almost 10 million in sales, I was losing sleep because I knew I had something inside me. So the first thing is, if you do a book just for the money, you've already lost. It has to come from within, and it has to be something you can't stop thinking about. If you go talk to my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, but she was my girlfriend, I could not sleep. I was so stressed out because I knew I had something inside me that could impact people. I knew that I knew how to do this and how to help people and how to motivate people at the highest level to get to the next level of results, but it wasn't out there. So I knew that I had to get this out because it was bottled up inside me. I would fall asleep thinking about, man, I have all this wisdom, but no one can learn it because it's not out there. So I started doing video series, and finally I was like, I have to write a book because I need to get this out there. So it wasn't let me write a book to be famous to make money. It was, I have to get this out there so I could sleep better because I know there's a lot of people counting on me that need this information. Okay. The second thing is, when you're writing a book, don't focus on writing the whole book because it's overwhelming. Focus on writing a chapter at a time. But for me, I broke everything down to what actually matters and what actually gets real results. I've spent tons of money on personal growth and mentors and masterminds and retreats and seminars and for some of the best training out. And this book kind of simplified it into the best possible information. And people don't know this, but I probably cut out 75 pages of the book when it was finished, going through it and saying, okay, this doesn't matter. This is just to boost my ego. This is a wasted story. This isn't tactical. This isn't relevant. This sounds good, but it won't actually help people. This is too fluffy. And I simplified it to what actually matters and to what actually works. So it's called the 80-20 rule. So I kind of simplified the book. You don't know how many people have said, Peter, I love the chapters that give you action steps at the end. So you'll find in every chapter, at the end of the chapter, it'll show you right here questions on how to simplify what you learned. And I don't want you to move on until you've actually got some results and mastered that chapter, right? So just take it chapter by chapter, but figure out what really drives you and what message you want to share, and make it about the audience, the customer, the potential client, the people you want to impact, not yourself. Okay. So what I want to do, and if you guys have suggestions or feedback, great. This is more of a conversation. And if you get some value, amazing. That's the goal. If I help one person and I change someone's life, that's the goal. Another thing about writing a book, sorry, I forgot to mention this. I'm not a writer. This was the first book I ever wrote, and I still can't believe I wrote it. I have one after that, and I'm coming out with a new one within the next 6 months. Haven't really mentioned that, but I've been working on it, and it's getting harder to write because I'm so hyper and energized and ADD that it's hard for me to sit and write and really focus. So I wouldn't have finished this. It took me 8 to 9 months to write this. And the only reason I finished it is because I sold myself on why I was doing it. It wasn't about me. It was, I kept focusing on the end result, getting the physical copy, getting an email from somebody saying, you know, you changed my life. I was going to commit suicide and your book talked me out of it. I'm not joking. I get these and I get chills thinking about it and I get emotional because that's why I wrote the book. It wasn't for me. If it was just for me, I would have stopped. I would have stopped in the first month because it was too hard, because I wasn't used to writing like this, but it wasn't about me. So if you really want to write a book, sell yourself on it. Make sure it's something that really is from within. Don't focus on the money and focus on the impact. Trust me, the money will come. And just because I value you guys, I value my YEL family, I value my YouTube subscribers, and there's nothing to hide. I don't care about hiding anything. I've made over $1 million from this, and I've consistently made over 10 grand a month for since 2014, well over. It's insane, right? But I didn't focus on the money. I focused on the impact. So what I want to do is just go through the first, after the introduction, it's called the hidden opportunity. And why I started with this, because when I was coming up in business, I was told to work harder, work harder, work harder, work harder, study all the personal growth. And one of the best philosophies I ever learned was from Jim Rohn. And this principle kind of goes against all the mold of society. And if you understand it, it's the most powerful principle that you can learn. And I learned it the hard way after going broke. But He said in one of his early seminars, you get paid for the value that you bring to the marketplace. And if you're not very valuable, you don't make much money. So I realized that I wasn't really valuable. I was just working and grinding and working 80 hours a week, but I wasn't really bringing value to my sales reps, to my customers, to my clients, to the people that I wanted to hire and train. And this was an eye-opener for me because I realized what I was doing wasn't very valuable, aka I wasn't making much money. So people tend to complain about the economy, their job, their government, lack of income, their boss, their family, where they live, their circumstance, they're sick, their energy, they're not motivated, they don't feel good. They complain about all these things, but they aren't doing much to actually improve their value to the marketplace or their skills. And this was a harsh reality for me. So here was the major problem. Time on a job or years in a specific occupation doesn't really mean more value, right? In most cases, the first few years, it really varies because a lot of people improve maybe 1 or 2 years, but after that, they kind of stay stagnant. So people always used to tell me, I got 20 years of experience. And then I always wondered, why the hell did they stay the same pay, a lot of them? Well, you don't have 20 years. You have 1 year repeated 20 times because you're not getting any better, right? If they're not sharpening their skills, if they're not using better tools, if they're not constantly bettering themselves, they aren't becoming more valuable. Why should you expect more money? Age doesn't guarantee a higher income, value does. Time on the job doesn't guarantee a higher income, value does. So with me, I was expecting, because I've been in the company a year and a half, 2, 3, 4 years, more money because I was older than some of the other people coming up, or I put in more time, but that didn't matter. That was irrelevant. I also, at one point in my career, coming up in entrepreneurship, used the age card. I'm too young to make money. Once again, age doesn't guarantee a higher income, whether you're old or young. Value does. How in the world is there now 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds making $1 million+ a year online, and there's broke 40 and 50-year-olds? Because one's willing to change and adapt to the new times, and one's willing to become more valuable, and the other one's stubborn and stuck in their ways, not becoming more valuable, and expecting things and being entitled. So people don't get more valuable hanging around. Age isn't value. So I really dive into this philosophy because for me, it was all about becoming more valuable and adding more value to the economy. My first 7 figures was because I added so much value in entrepreneurship with my podcast, with my books, with my mixtapes, with speaking, I started something called Real VIP Success, which now turned into peterjvoogd.com. But I was releasing videos every single Saturday. Some of those are still on my YouTube channel. You're going to laugh. They're from like 2013. But skills are valuable. Needs are not. You might be desperate for money to pay your medical bills or to help cure someone in your family. But as desperate as you may be, as sincere as you may be, you're not adding more value to you personally. So you don't offer any value to the marketplace, and the marketplace is unable to reward you if you're not bringing value. So the secret was learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. These days, livings aren't doing much for people, to be honest. They're stressed out. Even 6 figures isn't that much anymore, especially if you live in California. But if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. So when I heard this, my light bulb in my head went off. And this philosophy changed the game for me. Time is more valuable than money because you can always get more money, but you can't get more time. So is it possible to become twice as valuable in the same amount of time? Yes, develop more skills. And I dive in to help people figure out how to become more valuable. I give, I think, 12 or 13 different ways to become more valuable that I use to increase my worth. So here are some places where you'll reliably find opportunities to increase your value and stand out against competition. Expertise, study your industry, learn from your competitors. Think about the weaknesses in the industry. Study negative reviews of other companies. Where is there an opportunity for you to grow and use someone's negative experience as your marketing strategy or as your positioning, right? Productivity, what you get done and how much you get done. Leverage, how you get things done through other people or through leveraging technology. Multiplication. And there's 1, 2, 3, 6, there's 8 or 9 other ones, right? So there's no limit to how much you can make. How the heck does someone make $10 an hour and someone else make $10,000 an hour? Well, one's easily replaceable, that will eventually be replaced by robots. One is extremely tough, right? And you have to have a specific skill that's tougher to get into. So how much are you willing to develop yourself? That's the answer, right? What skill are you going to master that's relevant to your strengths, and what problem are you going to solve? That's the first chapter, the hidden opportunity, and everything starts from there. So hopefully you guys got value from just understanding it's not about you wanting it. It's about who you're actually becoming and what value you're actually adding to the marketplace. There's no limit to your success as an entrepreneur if you commit to growing and becoming more valuable. You're always in control of your economy, regardless of the outside circumstances. All right. In order for you to make room for your gifts, you have to follow the steps outlined that I'm going to talk about. So let me go through some of the chapters. The next chapter is called Mastery versus Information Overload. Okay, which is one of the biggest game changers for me, as well as the next chapter is the biggest money myths and how I was able to save $120,000 at age 23 and how I was able to make over 7 figures by age 27. But more importantly than making money, it's how I kept it and then multiplied it. I'm also going to share a couple things that aren't in the book. That's going to be my new book revolving around money. And I'm excited. So the next one's going to be Mastery versus Overload and Money Matters. Then I'm going to kind of dive into the 6 steps to 6 figures. I'm going to literally go through each thing and how it helped me, give you some actionable items. But I'm excited for this new series. Nothing special, no crazy graphics, just value for you and to remind people how important it is to follow the fundamentals that work, that are relevant, that are proven as well. So if there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know. I'd love to bring that to you. Thanks for subscribing. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as the YEL podcast. I'll put both links below. Until next time, make sure you're doing everything you can to live a life and a business on your terms. I'm excited for the next chapter, and we'll talk soon.